Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for March 17th, 2025. It's a time machine episode because I wasn't available yesterday or today, tomorrow. Anyway, time stuff. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmtown.com, and along with the Sentient AI, we go over 10 articles every single day, but the Sentient AI isn't available today for the time machine episode. They're on location doing stuff. So, I've selected 10 articles along with their help, so let's do this. We're going to talk about Eat Junk Food, Get Paid, The Sins of the Brother, Irish Pub Exports, Small Electric Cars, Starting to Kill Google's Links, Dentist Was Just a Veneer, Using Your Hands to Communicate, but Not ASL, Allegation of Corporate Espionage, That Tesla Video Was Weird, right? Maybe. And a gorilla broke out of a zoo. There wasn't supposed to be a gorilla. Anything, everything, all at once, here on Non Sequitur News. It's the name of a movie. I have to be everything, everywhere, all at once. Doesn't work out all that well. So I missed the show yesterday, which is actually today because we're in the time machine. We're going back to March 17th, 2025. I'm going to go through these really quick, try and make this a 30-minute show, but we'll see what happens. So did you know that the government paid people $5,000 to eat junk food for a month? A 20-year-old Florida college student named Sam s4e76 lived the dream life, if ever so briefly. Just kind of a candle burning on both ends, flamed out real fast. For a month, he ate rich, fatty, ultra-processed food to find out what happens to our bodies when we jam them full of bad stuff like chips, sugary cereals, and delicious chicken nuggets. Oh, chicken nuggets are bad for you? That sucks. s4e76 is the guinea pig. The mad scientist at the core of the research is named Kevin Hall from the National Institutes of Health. Hall wants to know why ultra-processed foods might cause people to eat more and gain weight. s4e76, along with 36 other participants, were paid $5,000 to do it for a month. Louis Prado over at Vice.com put this article together. We've actually heard about these periodically. It's not the first time that this has actually occurred. But it's interesting that this pops up in 2025. So for a month, this college student, ate nothing but junk food. Hall wants to know why ultra-processed foods might cause people to eat more and gain weight. So it says, to be fair, for as much of a dream job as it sounds like, there are elements of it that sound a little nightmarish. In the name of science, s4e76 had to get his blood drawn often and for long stretches so they could collect up to 14 vials at a time. For one 24-hour period every week, he had to live inside a metabolic chamber, an airtight room wherein he was slapped with a bunch of sensors that monitored how his body processed food. He was occasionally allowed to go outside, but he was closely monitored to make sure that he wasn't snacking outside of the study's parameters. The study's early findings suggest that when foods are hyper-palatable and calorie-dense, participants tend to consume more, leading to weight gain. More than 70% of the U.S. food supply is made up of ultra-processed foods, which is defined as a food product that is packed with refined ingredients and additives. It should be noted that just because something is overprocessed does not automatically mean that it's bad for you. There are yogurts out there that are considered ultra-processed but are still nutritionally valuable, for instance. So the United States is a gigantic country with a lot of people to feed, and companies want to make sure that their products are going in your stomach and not the garbage. If, say, a loaf of bread expires 2 days after it hits a grocery store shelf, all that is to say is that there are practical and impractical reasons foods are ultra processed. They end this with, it's not some giant evil conspiracy, it's capitalism mixing with the realities of the food supply chain. Yeah, not everybody can actually have a farm growing in their basement or backyard. Well, you can. I mean, I have a microgreens farm in my basement. The offshoot of this is that I've got a larger power bill when I'm running the farm. But I know that I can get all of the microgreens I want. And I don't have to worry about food security because I know that there isn't going to be any predation, there isn't any pesticides on it, etc., etc. It's all green all day, all night. And I'm the one that controls the day and night. It's kind of a neat process. Anyway, pretty interesting that this is going on. Let's keep going. They're doing research on it still, and they're going to find out what's going on. Like, why do we still feel hungry? Even after eating fatty, ultra-processed, whatever, perceived bad food. Anyway, the next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Brother says that it was falsely accused of bricking printers that use cheaper third-party ink cartridges. For years, more ham-fisted printer manufacturers have waged a not-so-subtle war on consumers by blocking the ability to use cheaper third-party printer cartridges. You could actually talk about coffee as well, because Keurig did the same thing. It's not just that. I mean, a lot of people are run a little protection ring around their product so that you can't have outside influences on the competition. By the way, you can get all of today's show notes over on YouTube because they're not in today's stream. Sorry, if you're over on Twitch, you can get them in the show notes over on YouTube, so go and check it out. So Brother says that it was falsely accused. Brother has historically been one of the last major printer manufacturers that hasn't engaged in the practice, something that should be applauded, except that their cartridges are really, really, really expensive. Yet the company found itself on the receiving end of recent accusations that it too had begun bricking computer printers. So the article is from the Crying Wolf department over at techdirt.com. Carl Bode put the article together. It says, yet the company found itself at the receiving end of recent accusations. The rumblings began courtesy of a YouTube video and several lazy subsequent articles about it, claiming that the company had done an about-face, but the accusations were entirely based on a 2022 Reddit post from a user who had problems after a firmware update. The problem wasn't new, and it wasn't clear Brother actually did anything differently. Ars Technica managed to do actual reporting and asked Brother about it. The company repeatedly insists that absolutely nothing has changed in regards to the company's treatment of third-party ink and toner cartridges. Quote, we are aware of the recent false claims suggesting that a Brother firmware update may have restricted the use of third-party ink cartridges. Please be assured that Brother firmware updates do not block the use of third-party ink in our machines. Now, it may void a warranty or something like that because the quality, the product quality, the toner may be of lower quality, and it may be a crappy print, but it is what it is. If you use inferior product, you get an inferior result. So there are various claims peppered around Reddit about users who claim a firmware update bricked their use of third-party cartridges or blocked it. Same thing. But Brother says that while its software and hardware do check to confirm whether official Brother cartridges are installed, which might lead to inadvertent bugs for some users, they don't block their use in any way. And for what it's worth, they say that they have an MFC L370 3770 CDW LaserJet that has never struggled to use cheap third-party toner. So I'll have to give it a try. I just picked up a Brother color laser. It's not LaserJet. That is HP. Anyway, it's unfortunate for Brother, given, again, it's one of the few remaining manufacturers not being an a-hole about the whole subject. So far. Canon was hit with a $5 million lawsuit in 2021 for the practice. Others have actually, HP was also hit with a lawsuit preventing its scanners. And I don't know if they mentioned Keurig, but even Keurig got slapped. So we'll see what happens. But I actually like Brother laser printers. I have an Okadata one that I use for dye sublimation prints and stuff like that. And I think that its laser is superior to inkjet because I cannot count how many times I've had to do a deep cleaning, which just oozes ink away from the cartridges. And for instance, I've got an Epson sitting right next to me. And that thing, I just got done deep cleaning it 2 weeks ago, and 2 days ago, I had to do another deep clean. If you don't keep on printing stuff, it no worky. Anyway, let's keep moving. The next article is over in the Mobile Channel. How the Irish pub became one of the Emerald Isle's greatest exports. The Dublin-based Irish Pub Company has designed upwards of 2,000 pubs in more than 100 countries around the globe. Looks kind of like this. I absolutely love Irish pubs. The Dublin-based Irish Pub Company. It's over at the Smithsonian Magazine or SmithsonianMag.com website. Lisa Weistich put the article together. And Alan Hines grew up in Kinvara, a small Irish village in County Galway. It had one shop, a post office, a church, and 2 pubs. When he'd go to the auction house with his father on the weekend, they'd stop into a few pubs on the 12-mile trip home. He moved to California's Marin County in 1998 and today owns a concrete and excavation business. 7 of his 9 brothers and sisters are also in the Golden State, but he says he always felt something missing. That community cornerstone, I agree. I think that it's a great place to hang out. Sometimes you just have to shut the place down by hanging out, listening to some good music, singing all together sometimes, and having a good old time. Anyway, so this is a really nice Irish pub type of atmosphere here, but it's not what I'm used to. But the Burren is one of the most recent projects of the Irish Pub Company, a Dublin-based design group that has created upwards of 2,000 pubs in more than 100 countries. Germany is the biggest European client. Switzerland is a close second. In Russia, it has established 3 venues in Moscow, 1 in Sochi, and 1 in Novosibirsk in Siberia. So I guess the drinks are always cold there. The company's handiwork is also found in the United Arab Emirates, which I didn't realize was a thing. Qatar, Bahrain, Japan, Nigeria. I've never remembered how to pronounce this. Mauritius? I don't know. Anyway. And it says the New York Hotel in Las Vegas. So I dig all of this. I would love to actually own a pub, but wildly expensive. Maybe I can just afford the model. It says up to 80 people could be involved in a single project in the company's workshop outside Dublin, including carpenters, joiners, metal workers, furniture makers, upholsterers, glass artists, and painters. Just the styling, the detail, the handiwork in this is just phenomenal. Everywhere you look, there is something that kind of embraces the pub feel, old school. I like it. So I love the idea of this. And I prefer this type of seating and stuff like that, where it's private, it's more intimate, it's quieter. Sometimes it can be loud no matter what. So they say the customizing starts by selecting the pub style. Victorian style is modeled on the classic Dublin spots, like the historic Long Hall pub, where dark stained woods, elaborate stained glass partition panels, and shiny brass accents abound. Snugs, small enclosed sitting booths, traditionally occupied by women while their husbands caroused at the bar, are a staple. Country style, inspired by rural stone-built establishments, has paler woods, scuffed finishes that contribute a warm cottage-like feel, etc., etc. Go and check this article out. I think it's pretty amazing. You know what? Let's do this. There you go. Omatron has the articles, so you can go and check the link over on Twitch now, too. Let's keep on moving, though. We only have 30 minutes. We're halfway through, but not halfway through the articles. So, small electric cars are said to be the future, but SUVs now rule the world. Well, the road. Despite dire predictions of climate breakdown, more sport utility vehicles are being spotted on and off the roads. This article is over at bbc.com. The article is written by Navin Singh Kodka. Sorry, there you go. And yeah, I mean, it says that pivot has not materialized. Globally, 54% of the cars sold in 2024 were SUVs, including petrol, diesel, hybrids, and electric makes. This is an increase of 3 percentage points from 2023 and 5 percentage points from the year before, according to global data. Of the SUVs, which are now on the road, both new and older models, 95% are burning fossil fuels, according to IEA. So I guess that whole shift to EVs isn't really happening, not in smaller cars, and definitely not in SUVs, as 50% are categorized as SUVs. Momentum was thought to be with smaller energy-efficient electric vehicles, but the sales of standard-sized electric vehicles has actually decreased in major markets such as Japan and Germany, and their sales growth has slowed in India. I say it's entirely on one issue, and that is it is astronomically long to hurry your ass up and get into a station, charge, and get out. You can't do it. You're stuck. 30 minutes to 4 hours to get to 80%, and then beyond that to get to 100%. And I think that it's a horrible transition. It is not a workable solution. And I would say don't give up your ICE vehicles until they do fast swap batteries. Let's keep going. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. AI search is starting to kill Google's 10 blue links. After decades of relying on Google's 10 blue links, basically above the fold top stuff, you find everything from travel tips to jeans. Consumers are quickly adapting to a completely new format, AI chatbots that do the searching for them. So you get the results. You don't have to go to a page anymore. You can actually see the results above the links that you click, but you have to accept that this might be hallucination. According to new research from Adobe, AI search has become a significant traffic channel for retailers. The company analyzed more than 1 trillion visits to U.S. retail sites through its analytics platform and conducted a survey of e-commerce of more than 5,000 U.S. respondents to better understand how people are using AI. And the report says that AI search referrals surged 1,300% during the 2024 holiday season. So everybody is switching to basically whatever is provided by the AI. Kylie Robinson over at TheVerge.com put this article together. New data from Adobe reveals AI search referrals are on the rise. Oh no. I can't keep going. Anyway, I have to log in, and I didn't log in, and I can't do it while we're live. So that's okay. You can follow the link and check all this out. The next article is over in the mobile channel over at ohmtown.com. That's where it's aggregated from Vice. We all hate going to the dentist, right? Well, a woman was arrested after pretending to be a dentist for 8 years. Maybe that's my problem. I went and saw her, and now I'm paranoid. We all hate going to the dentist. We all get anxious about the notion of sharp objects jammed into our gums only to be scolded by the person cleaning our teeth that we need to floss more. Pretty much every time. Now, try doing all of that with someone who claims to be a dentist, but is actually just some rando unlicensed person. That's the case with in New York, as a Suffolk County woman was arrested for impersonating a fake dental practice that she operated out of her home. Ugh. You know, you have to have a hobby. You know, some people take on being a tattoo artist. Other people, I don't know, a bunch of other stuff. But who aspires to just have a hobby, home business, dentist? You don't wake up one day and just go, I think I want to be a dentist, but not licensed. I don't want to be a professional dentist. I want to be a hobby dentist. Yolanda, I won't even say their name. Anyway, upon receiving a search warrant, investigators discovered that the 55-year-old woman had set up a functioning dental office in her home and was working as if she was truly a dentist. She was not. There are no licenses or training records for her. She's now facing 3 counts of unauthorized practice of a profession. Officials are asking for more patients of hers to come forward as they build out the case. The patients who had already alerted the police realized after going to see her that something was off. She allegedly never used anesthesia. She used antibiotics from overseas. Patients also are dealing with nerve damage and facial paralysis after having her operate on them. She'd been operating for 8 years. Kyle Filippi over at Vice.com put this article together. The next article is over in the mobile channel. Typing in midair or pretending to drink, how using your hands to communicate can help you understand others. Certain hand gestures, such as pretending to hold up a cup in your hand and bringing it to your mouth to pretend to drink, help people respond more quickly to conversations. This is sort of like semiotic ontology, which is really the study of how things gather meaning. But it's usually around signage. Symbology is one term that's been floated around what semiotic ontology is, but it's usually the typical semiotic ontology or ontological example is a stop sign. We know what it looks like. We know the color of it. We know the word. You can actually see just that color and sign, and you instinctively know that you're supposed to stop. It doesn't even need to say stop. That's semiotic ontology. Well, that's kind of the same thing with this, except with hand gestures. So if you go like this, then you raise your eyebrows like, you know that somebody's asking you if you want a drink. So this is evident from research by neuroscientist Marlin Terbeck, I guess, of the Donders Institute, who will be awarded a doctorate on the subject in 2021 March at Radboud University. I find this a really interesting topic because the way that I find it very easy to teach somebody how to say a word is to have them watch how you articulate it. And if you over-enunciate, over-articulate it, they pick it up really fast. So I think that this is similar to that in that it's the gesture, it's the mechanism of doing it, not just saying it, not just doing it, but being very bombastic about it, very big, bold. So, and a lot of things are idiomatic. A thumbs up is not the same to everybody else, right? Saying or showing the number 3 is different in different regions, right? Arguably, it's all idiomatic. So pedaling motions. Her research shows that people respond more quickly to a question if they see a hand gesture. To this end, she analyzed hours of video material in which 34 pairs of friends were talking to each other, and every time someone asked a question, I'd look to see if there was a hand gesture and how quickly the person responded to it. The analysis showed that hand gestures do indeed help people respond more quickly. Then they go into types. So they say their predictions allow listeners to start preparing their answer earlier and thus respond more quickly. It turned out that the better a hand gesture predicts what someone is going to say, the more it helps with responding quickly to questions. So it's kind of like saying, you did this, right? And you give a thumbs up, and the person will instinctively want to go, yeah, and give a thumbs up back. But they'll be ready because they already saw the thumbs up. Yeah. So after years of only looking at hand gestures, the neuroscientist recognizes their importance. If you want a quick answer to your question, add a hand gesture. If you want to convey an important message clearly, don't make a phone call. Try to make an appointment or a video call. And in the latter sense, make sure your hands are clearly visible, as this will help you understand each other much better. Okay, right on. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Leaks, a fake Slack channel, and a toilet. A lawsuit reveals wild allegations of corporate espionage. I'm going to jump straight on over to the source of this. Jacob Shamsian and Amelia Russell over at BusinessInsider.com put the article together. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go through this whole thing. It's one of these things where if I'm not logged in, it might actually block it. But executives at Rippling had a problem. Private information from the company kept leaking. I guess the toilet was leaking. The company says in a lawsuit filed Monday, the suit alleges or says that recruiters at one of their chief rivals, Deel, D-E-E-L, had contacted more than a dozen Rippling employees using their unlisted personal phone numbers. Then it adds, a journalist approached Rippling, a workforce management software company that has with a story claiming that it may have violated sanctions, citing messages from Rippling's Slack channels. After launching an investigation, Rippling says the company found an employee in Ireland it now says was a spy digging for corporate secrets to pass off to the company's competition. The lawsuit filed against Deel in San Francisco federal court says that the employee who oversaw payroll issues in Europe was looking at Slack channels with no connection to his payroll operations, job responsibilities, and searching for the term Deel more than a dozen times a day. The suit says that the man, who is not named in the lawsuit, found sensitive information about prospective customers who were looking to switch from Deal to Rippling. It adds that he downloaded a 31 slide deck that explained Rippling's strategy for competing with Deal. What's interesting, though, is if they were doing something, violated sanctions, citing messages from Rippling Slack, blah, blah, blah. If there's information that they're doing something illegal, it's kind of interesting that they would target Deal as if they were all above board. But it says, maybe there's something here, right? Well, the letter identified a Slack channel called Defectors, on which Rippling employees discussed information that Deal would find embarrassing if it was made public, it adds. In reality, the lawsuit adds, the hashtag D-Defectors channel did not exist until shortly before Rippling sent the letter to Deal. Rather than being a gathering place for ex-Deal employees, the channel was set up as a part of a ruse designed to confirm that Deal was instructing DS to search for specific information in Rippling's Slack. Rippling's lawsuit says, referring to the person it says was Deal's spy, DS. So apparently it was all a plan, and it showed that they actually had an insider threat. So it was basically tech rivalry. Rippling's lawsuit, which demands a jury trial, marks a fiery escalation in its rivalry with Deal. Founded in 2016 by Parker Conrad, the mainstay of the workforce software market, Rippling creates tools to streamline a company's back office. It launched with the idea of gathering all of the customers' data about its employees and placing it in one system. I mean, that's an HR management system. So the two firms now go head-to-head in the workforce software market, raising bigger and faster rounds of funding to expand their operations. So nothing like a lawsuit to really help that out. Because one side's going to lose. I guess in this case, Rippling set up Deal to basically get punched. So it may not work out for Deal. So they were dealing in this information the wrong way. All right. The next two articles, let's see if we can go through this pretty fast. This next article is over in Non Sequitur News. If you have a question or comment and you're in the chat somewhere, then feel free to throw stuff into the chat. Happy to discuss things, but Mark Rober's Tesla video was more than a little weird. Mark Rober's Tesla video has kicked up a lot of reactions, claiming that it was fake. Over the weekend, former NASA engineer and YouTuber Mark Rober published a video that sought to demonstrate the differences between Tesla's camera, autopilot, and LiDAR. So I had seen this already. I had postponed talking about it, but we might as well talk about it. They go through this video. If you go through this video, just watch it, and you can see that there's a difference in technology. Setting it up and re-recording it and stuff like that, that is what a skilled YouTuber is going to do. I don't edit my videos. I don't reshoot anything. I don't want anything suggesting that I am editing or manipulating or tainting the output in any way. Only a couple of times in the now 3 years and 3 months that I've been doing this have I ever even bothered to do this, or to do an edit. And usually it's because of doxing, or I don't want somebody else's private information or personal information exposed, even if they're in an article. I very rarely edit anything. Well, this video was edited. It had to have been, because there was a whole bunch of cuts and stuff like that, and it has to be more concise. Well, they say the number one complaint is, well, not number one. They list several complaints. Autopilot isn't on during the test, but there's video that shows that it is on, and right before the impact, it actually shuts off, but that's a Tesla thing. Autopilot disengages right before impact. Autopilot is an outdated system, and now FSD or full self-driving is the de facto solution. But if you have autopilot, then it's autopilot, right? FSD might actually operate differently, but and now there's a new flavor of it called Tesla Vision. A number of engineers raised objections at the time, only to be overruled by Musk. But the idea is that full self-driving is supposed to be, it's still visual based. It's not LiDAR. LiDAR can be faked by certain, or not faked, tripped up by things like rain. Vision systems can be tripped up by glare, and rain, and smoke, and apparently a painted wall. And then it says there were multiple takes. Don't know what to tell you about that. It's going to happen. And then claim number 5 is that it was basically SpawnCon. It was a sponsored manipulation. It was all set up, blah, blah, blah. But it's actually a friend of theirs that provided the LiDAR system. And there isn't a big deal here. And then they say something about the Pixel phone in the video was Photoshopped. Rober supposedly used a Pixel phone to film some of the shots inside the vehicles, but some of the users on X noted that the G on the back of the phone is vertical when the phone is in landscape, which led to some speculate that he's actually filming with an iPhone. Rober has used Pixel phones in past videos. There's no mention. I don't know. Whatever the case is, maybe there was some editing there. Because they wanted to hide the fact that it was on an iPhone, but who cares? The video, the only thing you have to worry about is, was this a fraudulent video? But obviously, you can go and do this same thing. Set up a wall and of styrofoam. And then they go, claim number 7, the hole in the wall was fake. Yeah, it was cut out because they knew that they were driving through a particular area. And instead of just plowing into a solid styrofoam wall, they wanted to make it more comical, because I'm sure that they knew, they anticipated that this thing was going to drive through. But just me saying, it's obvious if you paint a wall and have a vision system that's just looking at it to determine if it's a road or a brick wall, I can just say it and you're going to go, nuh-uh. But if I drive it through it again and again and again, well, it's irrefutable, right? And that's what they did. They drove through it several times. I'm sure that this thing was cut out at some point so that it amplified the fact that a vision system, a pure vision system, is too stupid to realize that it's a painted wall. And so they cut it out instead of just having to replace the entire thing time and time and time again. Anyway, it's obvious that this thing just drove through it. If somebody can prove that it's fake by doing a follow-on test, that is the scientific method. Somebody provides evidence of X, you provide evidence of Y. If the two don't correlate, then there is a problem there with the facts. And so go and prove that it actually is a failed system or a failed test or whatever. But prove it. Don't just poo-poo it while you're sitting on your chair. Go and prove it. So the article is over on The Verge by Andrew J. Hawkins. That's who put the article together. But I was so excited to get into this, I didn't give the attribute at the beginning of the show. Anyway, the last article for today, and it's a time machine episode, so I may or may not be able to do the episode on the 18th. It's been a long day. So Virginians panic after a gorilla broke out of a zoo that didn't have any gorillas. The news broke out and went on a rampage through social media that a gorilla had escaped from the Virginia Zoo in Norfolk. People were scared. Was it safe to leave the house? Could they go do groceries? And would the gorilla be attracted to the banana smell? I think that's a goof. But anyway, people were in low-level panic, but for no reason, because it was all fake. Louis Prada over at Vice.com put the article together. There was no gorilla on the loose. The Virginia Zoo doesn't even have a gorilla. In our modern age, an age of wonders and miracles, it's still way easier to spread a lie than it is to debunk one. I actually gave a talk about that today. A Norfolk gorilla is a good example. It all started because of a power outage, and on Tuesday, March 11th, a crash involving a tractor-trailer knocked out power to over 3,000 Norfolk residents. Rumors quickly began to swirl as a few residents took to Facebook to claim not only was there a power outage, but a gorilla had escaped from the zoo and had been roaming around town. We don't have those, says the zoo. The gorilla, just imagine that it was Godzilla. Not Godzilla. What's the big gorilla? Oh my God, it's not Godzilla. I've completely forgotten what the name of the big ape is. The big gorilla. Hold on. I cannot believe it. I've watched movies about it. My brain has gone blank. Hold on a second. Seriously, my brain just shut down. King Kong. My God. I am a goober. Anyway, so I think somebody probably just like, hey, it's like a gorilla thing. Let's spread a rumor that there is a gorilla on the loose. So either way, it was a lie. That was easily disproven by the simple fact that the Virginia Zoo doesn't have a gorilla that could get out. My quote to people today was trust but verify. Do the due diligence, critical thinking necessary for you to verify the information that you are seeking. Don't take first blush at information from an AI generated result from Google. If it provides you information, you better verify it, because at some point you're going to use incorrect information, treat it as if it is absolute truth, and you're going to get called out as being a complete goober. So anyway, this is a very interesting article, and it's about reality hacking. Yeah, I can say whatever I want online, and there are going to be a subset of people that buy it. I am doing my best to support through articles and through additional links, if necessary, the information that I'm talking about. And so I hope that you trust the show as basically trivia like news without the game. That's why I started titling some of our shows as news trivia without the game. At some point, you're going to be out there talking to people, and somebody is going to mention, hey, did you know that there was a gorilla that broke out of a Virginia zoo? And you're going to go, no, that is actually a lie. And it's a falsehood that somebody put out there. A lie. Let's just call it a lie. Some people do it without blinking, but they're typically sociopaths. I will try not to lie to you, and I encourage you to challenge the statements that I make. If I provide you incorrect information, let me know. It's more of a conversation than it is just me, gushing information out, although it is. I'm gushing a bunch of news articles that are aggregated into ohmtown.com, which is exactly where we're going to go. We're going to go back to ohmtown.com. It is March 17th, 2025, Season 4, Episode 76 of Non Sequitur News, and it's come to a close. So, and here, I have a whole new graphic. When I start thinking, I need to start dropping this thing out there. Yes. And then when I actually come to a conclusion, at any rate, we're done for the day. I am Mayor Watt. I'm saying bye. I'm taking the AI with me, but the AI isn't even there, so I'll see you later.